In the last moments of the brand new Outlander episode from last week, Rob Cameron abducted young Jem and Jamie was lying lifeless on a battlefield. The family's ability to travel across time appears to have been discovered by Brianna's coworker, putting everyone in risk, but especially Jem. James Fraser was found unresponsive on the battlefield of the First Battle of Saratoga. The final episode of Outlander Season 7 before the show returns from its mid-season break. Turning Points takes up where we left Jamie. However, that's just the beginning of the challenges the cast must overcome. In the 7th episode, Claire threatened to go looking for Jamie if he didn't return from war, and she actually did. Claire discovers a barely awake Jamie while fending off a woman and child who are stealing the dead on the battlefield. Although he is still alive, Claire notices a severe cut on his hand. When Jamie wakes up, his wife lashes out at him in anger because she has been searching for him all night, scared of what she might find, and she is mortified to see that he was in the front of the battle rather than the back, where riflemen are supposed to be. Claire says she is angry with him because she was terrified and blames his stupid hero complex, but she also reminds him that they belong in Scotland and shouldn't get involved in this conflict there. Following the opening titles, we see Claire and Jamie at camp where she is bandaging his wound. She cares to Jamie's hand while explaining that although the British claim to have won the war, they actually suffered heavy losses. She reassures him that Ian was unarmed during the combat. Jamie worries about William, but Claire reassures him that just because he was at Ticonderoga previously doesn't imply he is now at Saratoga. Claire leaves Jamie to recover while she attends to the other wounded troops. After some time, Denzel Hunter visits her, burdened by the war's casualties. He has never lost so many patients so soon, and he wonders if, in addition to being a doctor, he can also manage it as a Quaker. When he inquires about if all of this agony and death is even worthwhile, Claire responds that she thinks it will. Of course, the fact that she is aware of the future and how this battle will turn out helps. When Claire returns to help Jamie, she gives him the rest of her laudanum to ease his agony and asks about a visitor she had earlier seen leaving their tent. Jamie clarifies that it was Colonel Johnson, who came to declare that Jamie's actions during the conflict enabled his company to break the British line and guarantee their life. After telling Claire that excellent men are worth losing a finger or two, Jamie promptly nods off in the middle of his statement. Claire then stitches his hand before joining him in bed. Even if Jamie's hand is healing well 2 weeks later, Claire is not particularly pleased because she knows he will return to the fight. When Claire notices Rollo chowing down on some goose grease she had saved for Denzel's patients, she changes the subject and tells Ian she anticipates another fight, one that will be crucial in enlisting the French in the conflict. She urges Ian to acquire additional grease on his own initiative and to deliver it to Rachel Hunter. Between Rachel and Ian, feelings have been developing. Their hands briefly touch as he hands her the goose grease, and it is clear that they are attracted to one another. Even when Ian dares to kiss her, she smacks him after initially appearing to accept the kiss. The yearning is great despite his apology. While Rachel is resistant and he insists that she loves him, it is obvious that they are both struggling with their emotions. Due to the threat posed by Archbug, Ian is concerned that Rachel would die if she loved him, and she worries that their relationship would conflict with her Quaker beliefs. Later, when she brings up the subject with her brother, Denzel cautions her that if she marries someone like Ian, their community will surely reject her. A soldier arrives in the interim to exchange supplies with Claire. Before Jamie joins them and Claire asks the man's name, they have a pleasant conversation, and he gives her laudanum. Claire is shocked to learn that he is none other than Major General Benedict Arnold. Soon after, she tells Jamie that Arnold is important to the war. She adds that although he will ultimately turn against the Continental Army, betray them, and be recognized as a traitor, it will actually aid their cause. Claire and Jamie watch as General Daniel Morgan explains to his men why he despises the British, as we later find in reading an update to his men on the fight and the position of the British force. When Morgan takes off his shirt, he reveals a severely scared back that resembles Jamie's own back and was caused by a violent beating from the Redcoats. The Second Battle of Saratoga took place on October 7, 1777, and the episode continues there. Jamie is battling alongside the other riflemen this time. Morgan orders General Simon Fraser to be shot after spotting him on the British side, but Jamie is obviously reluctant because Simon Fraser is his cousin. Instead of shooting Fraser, he shoots a soldier's hat off of his head. When the soldier turns, William is seen. While Jamie is getting his bearings after being knocked to the ground, another rifleman shoots Simon Fraser. Jamie, who has been instructed to pursue the retreating British, avoids explosives and scales barriers as he worries about William. We later saw Claire attending to Benedict Arnold after the Americans had won the war. He expresses to her his anger with Morgan and other generals for consistently ignoring him and downplaying his role to the fight. Although she omits the traitor part, Claire reassures him when he wonders if history will remember him. When a British soldier arrives to find Jamie and informs him that General Fraser is dying and needs to see him before it's too late, Jamie tells Claire that he almost shot William and that the experience shook him. Claire says there is nothing that can be done when they get to Simon's side, and Jamie then proceeds to speak with his cousin. They remember their last encounter with one another. Simon says he's fine with being surrounded by him as a relative and by his comrades, but Jamie expresses regret that his cousin is passing away far from Scotland and his family. William and Claire run into one another outside the tent, where they have a conversation about how dreadful war it is and how it has affected William. Claire informs Jamie that William is present after he pays his respects to Simon and the latter passes away. Jamie then acknowledges responsibility for shooting his other one-off during the struggle and gives his son a cap. Despite how difficult it is for Jamie to meet William, he admits to Claire that he still wanted to give it a shot in case it ended up being his only opportunity. When another soldier approaches Jamie to inform him that he has been promoted to captain, William watches as Jamie walks away while reflecting on the behavior of this man whom he knows but does not know. After the battle, when the British terms of capitulation are being negotiated, Jamie learns that one of the requirements is that no soldiers who took part in that battle are permitted to fight in this war going forward, ensuring William's safety. However, Jamie learns of a different precise term that alters the situation for him and Claire. A colonel arrives to ask Jamie whether he will travel with his cousin to Scotland, since Simon Fraser had ordered that his remains be returned there in the case of his passing. Ian will be traveling with Claire and Jamie while plans are made for their return to Scotland. He asks Rachel to keep an eye on Rollo while he is gone, and she consents because it implies he will return to get Rollo. Later, we find Rachel walking Rollo when she encounters Archbug. Archbug recognizes the dog and concludes that if Rachel is taking care of Rollo, his owner must truly love her. Their meeting does not bode well for Rachel because he has threatened to kill anybody he loves. The trio of Claire, Jamie, and Ian are aboard a ship sailing to Scotland towards the episode's conclusion. Jamie gets seasick and misses his dog, but before they realize it, a bell signals land. They all walk out onto the balcony and start to cry when they see Scotland, a country they have all missed terribly. Similar to how the previous Outlander episode spent a lot more time with the Frasers than the Mackenzies, this episode flips the script and offers us a little bit more of the plot in the 1980s. Roger returns home to inform Bree that it was too late to stop Rob Cameron from passing through the stones at Craigna Dun with Jemmy. She informs Roger that the letter from Jamie that made reference to the Spanish gold is gone because she has deduced that Rob's objectives are connected to it. Bree wonders what they should do, and as Roger is distraught, he declares that he is returning to pursue Rob. Bree gives them stones she has been saving in case they ever need to travel back to the 1700s, and Buck offers to go with him because he wants to aid his relatives. Later, Roger, Bree, Mandy, and Buck are seen ascending to Craigna Dun. Roger makes a sorrowful goodbye pledge to the Mackenzies while pledging to get Jemmy back. As Roger and Buck pass through the stones, Mandy and Bree can only wait in hope of their safe return. With everyone in Scotland now, will Roger run across Claire and Jamie? And what about Jemmy? As the first half of Outlander Season 7 is now finished, we'll just have to wait and watch. In the meantime, you can revisit previous seasons on the Starz app and Lionsgate Plus.